The world has transformed into a society where time has replaced traditional currency. Advancements in science has enabled people to stop aging at 25, but the drawback is that they are genetically programmed to live for just one more year. If they want to live more, they have to earn it through work, and they can exchange it for goods and services. When a person's allotted time expires, they die. The rich can basically live forever, while the poor live their lives paycheck to paycheck. Will wakes up and realizes that he has less than a day to live. He meets his mother, Rachel, on her 50th birthday, but their celebration is cut short when Rachel reminds Will of their outstanding bills and loans. She hands him 30 minutes and asks him to meet her after work. Will works in a factory making time storage devices. After work, he goes to a bar with his friend Borrell, where he sees a man named Henry, buying drinks for everyone and has over a century in his time. He helps Henry to escape after being attacked by some men who are willing to steal his time. Will and Henry become acquainted, and Henry discloses that he is 105 years old and wishes for death due to mental exhaustion. This angers Will, who struggles to make ends meet by working multiple jobs to survive. Henry then exposes the dark truths of their society, where the wealthy intentionally increase the cost of living to ensure the poor continue to die, thus transferring more time to the rich. He reveals that there is enough time for everyone. The next morning, Henry gives all but 5 minutes of his time to Will and leaves. Will wakes up and discovers that he has over a century's worth of time. He searches for Henry and finds him on a bridge. As Henry's time runs out, he falls into the river. Now that he knows the truth, Will decides to seek justice. Meanwhile, Rachel pays off a loan but can't afford the bus fare due to price hikes. She runs towards Will, but collapses before reaching him. Will is devastated because they were only seconds away from the life they had always dreamed of. Although Will has all the time he wants now, Rachel has none. The timekeepers recover Henry's body from the river, while Will wears a new suit and leaves the time zone, crossing multiple borders with increasing toll fees. The final border costs Will a year, and he enters the city of New Greenwich, which is vastly different from his prior experiences. Still used to living with little time, Will exits the car and starts running, but quickly adapts to his newfound abundance of time. However, he has already attracted the attention of a woman named Sylvia. Will experiences gourmet food and drinks for the first time in his life and leaves 1 week tip for the waitress. She notices his abnormal behavior, saying that he does everything too fast. The timekeepers observe Will on surveillance footage in their headquarters, and Raymond recognizes him. Will enters a casino and plays poker with a billionaire named Philippe. He wins over 2 centuries, and Philippe raises the pot by 50 years. Will calls with confidence and wins the round. He becomes distracted by Sylvia, who sits next to Philippe. Philippe raises the pot by 2 more centuries and Will calls, leaving only 30 seconds on his arm. However, he wins and receives a millennium. Philippe then introduces Sylvia as his daughter and invites Will to a party. On the following day, Will uses his winnings to buy a new car and drives it to Philippe's mansion. While there, he meets Sylvia, and they engage in conversation, eventually ending up on the dance floor. Sylvia asks Will if he comes from the ghetto, but he neither confirms nor denies it. She shares with him her feelings of emptiness and how time seems to be holding her back instead of granting her freedom. They go to the beach, undress, and swim in the ocean together under the moonlight. However, their romantic moment is disrupted by the arrival of the timekeepers, who confront Will and confiscate his time. He then takes Sylvia hostage and flees with her in his car, leading to a car chase with the timekeepers. They manage to evade them under a bridge, where Will asks Sylvia for her time, but she refuses. In the morning, they drive on the highways and accidentally run over traffic spikes, causing their tire to puncture and leading to a crash. Some men approach them and steal time from Sylvia, leaving her with only 30 minutes. Will gives her a few minutes and they quickly go to get more time. With only 3 minutes remaining, Will notices Sylvia's earring and decides to sell it at a jewelry dealer. The dealer takes advantage of their desperation and only offers 2 days' worth of time. Will accepts the offer, and they hide when they hear the timekeepers approaching. As they walk through the city, they discuss Sylvia's family business, and Will asks about its worth. Sylvia says it's too much to matter. Will then calls Raymond and proposes a deal. He will transfer 1,000 years of time to the ghetto city in exchange for Sylvia. Raymond warns him that this plan could result in his death. The next morning, Will checks for the time transfer from Philippe but finds none, leaving Sylvia disappointed with her father. Despite this, Will still plans to let Sylvia go and escorts her to a phone booth, where he gives her a gun as a farewell gift. Sylvia calls her father and demands that he fulfill Will's request. While she talks on the phone, Will is unaware that Raymond is pointing a gun at him. Sylvia sees Raymond and shoots him without hesitation. They take Raymond's car and escape. Later on, Will and Sylvia sit in the back seat and watch news coverage of their recent activities. Will suggests that Sylvia could still return to her father, but Sylvia declines, preferring her adventurous life with Will. They share a kiss, and then discuss Will's plan to distribute time to the people, and Sylvia agrees to help him. They rob a loaning establishment, stealing time storage devices and encouraging borrowers to take as much time as they need. Will and Sylvia are on a rooftop, watching prices rise continuously. Will expresses hopelessness, explaining that the wealthy will continue to increase the cost of living whenever they steal. He believes that only 1,000,000 years of time can bring about a change. Sylvia agrees and has a plan to address the issue. The following day, Philippe enters a building surrounded by numerous bodyguards. Sylvia attracts their attention and requests to see her father. Among the guards is Will, who aims a gun directly at Philippe's head. Will orders the guards to lower their weapons and takes Philippe hostage. Inside Philippe's office is a time vault containing a device with 1,000,000 years of time. Philippe tries to explain that society will collapse if the time falls into the wrong hands, as someone is always willing to sacrifice others for a chance at immortality. Will becomes angry and points his gun at Philippe, but he quickly regains his composure. Will explains to Philippe that immortality is not worth sacrificing even a single life. Raymond chases after them, and as they're about to reach safety, he intercepts them in the ghetto and crashes into them. Will exits the car uninjured and gives the 1,000,000 time to a young girl and asks her to distribute it among others. The crowd blocks Raymond's sight, allowing Will and Sylvia to escape. Raymond picks a car, and the chase continues until they collide in the middle of the road. Raymond confesses that he's also from the ghetto and acknowledges the need to maintain the gap between the rich and the poor. However, he realizes his time is up and dies on the spot, leaving Will and Sylvia with little time. They find Raymond's car and replenish their time before running into each other's arms. The movie ends with citizens crossing borders into more expensive zones, and Will and Sylvia make their way to a massive time bank. The movie conveys a message about the unequal distribution of wealth and the resulting societal inequality. It portrays a future society where the wealthy can live forever while the poor struggle to survive day by day. The film highlights the need for a fair and just distribution of resources, as well as the importance of valuing human life over material possessions. It also encourages people to take control of their own lives and fight against oppressive systems, rather than accepting their fate as victims of circumstance.